Good morning. I'm Charlotte Jones, co-host of the John Telford Detroit Show, coming to you every Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock on WJZZ Cool TV. Also streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Dr. John Telford is a former Detroit Public Schools superintendent, a former world-class athlete, conqueror of Olympic champions, a championship track coach, poet, newspaper columnist, a longtime civil rights crusader, and author of 7 books: Creative Insubordination, What Old Men Know, The Will Robinson Story, The Poetic Prancings of Mad John, The Poet Emperor of Earth, and his explosive autobiography, A Life on the Run. Plus, another upcoming poetry book, Athletes, Activism, and Apple Boughs, a Detroit poetic epic. His books are available on Amazon.com or by calling 313-460-8272. That's 313-460-8272. Dr. Telford has been called a legend and also a lightning rod for controversy, a recipient of the City Council Spirit of Detroit Award and the Joe Louis Foundation Spirit of the Champ Award. He was named Wayne State University's Alumnus of the Year, and a Detroit track is named for him. His email is drjohntelfordedd@aol.com. That's dr.johntelfordedd@aol.com. Dr. Telford also has a show on WCHB AM 1340 that airs on Saturdays at 9:30 in the morning and Mondays at 6:30 in the evening. That's on WCHB AM 1340, Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. and Mondays at 6:30 p.m. And now, without further ado, I present to you that old native Detroiter, the one and only Dr. John Telford. Good morning. Welcome to the John Telford Detroit Show. John is not with us today. I am Charlotte Jones, author of A Ain't Always for Apple, volumes 1 and 2 and a quarter, available at charjay.com. Today we are interviewing Clinton Borders. He is the project manager for Recovery Park Farms. Welcome, Clint.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good. I introduced you, but tell me a little bit about yourself and your program, and let's get to specific questions that we have. When I have to do 2 things at once, I'm not going to say I get confused, but I'll be trying to get it all together. So what is Recovery Park and how does it work?
Well, Recovery Park is a nonprofit, and we provide jobs to citizens with barriers to employment, meaning people coming out of incarceration or people coming out of substance abuse. Whatever the barrier is, those are the people that we hire, and we create jobs to put in place for these people to come in and learn skills to better their lives going forward.
So, and you get them like out of the, you have special places that you get your people, like out of the recovery programs. And
recovery programs, parole office, places like that, word of mouth.
Okay. So, how did you get involved with the program?
I got involved in 2016. I was working with another nonprofit at the time that was called Replanting Roots. And it was myself and 2 other people that came to Recovery Park. And that program shut down in 2015, and I came over to Recovery Park in 2016.
And that program was like a farming initiative as well?
It wasn't farming, but we worked in the Brightmoor area a lot, and I would take a crew of 10 people and we would go and tear houses down. There's a lot of blight over in that area, and John George is the one that spearheads that over there, and I worked closely with him for a couple years.
Okay. So now, I wanted to interview you because I wanted a different perspective on you guys' organization. So, tell us about the founder of this organization. I mean, I've looked and saw plenty of interviews about his situation. Can you tell how he came about this idea of Recovery Park?
Okay, now he's better one to tell that story, but what I know of the story, his name is Gary Wozniak, and Gary himself had a barrier. It must have been about 30 years ago. He was incarcerated and had a drinking problem, and ended up after he got out of prison, he ended up in the share house, And that's where this idea for Recovery Park came alive at the Shear House.
Now, I seen an interview. He said he had a cocaine problem too, and he's
Yeah,
not
cocaine and
right.
alcohol
He's
problem.
not. I'm not telling his business. It's all.
Oh, he's an open book.
Right. He's
He
open
is an
about it.
open book. Yeah, he doesn't mind telling his story.
Right.
And so when he got out of prison, nobody would hire him. I mean, for the simplest little jobs.
Right.
And he said he made himself a promise that no, he wouldn't have to ever ask anybody else for a job. So I think he started Three Jets Pizzas, and he has a string of businesses after that.
Cause he was on Wall Street, wasn't he, or something like
Well,
that?
he worked with stocks and
Yeah.
stuff, and that's where he got in trouble.
Right.
So,
Probably
and that's probably 30 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I know I don't want anybody thinking, why is she telling that man's business? No, this interview is out there, and I just wanted to tell a different side of the story. Like, I'm more interested in the farming aspect. So, with that being said, what is Recovery Park Farm, and what is your role in the organization?
Okay, again, I am the project manager of Recovery Park. The farm itself, we have a 1 acre farm with 8 hoop houses. And if anybody doesn't know what a hoop house is, it's a plastic structure. They're 130 long by 30 wide. And they have heat, gas, and water inside of them. They hold heat very well. I think I took you over there last week in the wintertime and we went inside the hoop house and you got hot. You had to take your coat off because it gets hot in there. And so we have the sides that open up when it gets too hot. And in fact, we had solar panels on the hoop houses. And so when it got to a certain temperature, sides would go up automatically and we could roll the fronts and the back up. So it had fans in there, and so we cooled it down that way by letting the sides and stuff up.
So is that the difference between a hoop house and a greenhouse? Is that you can open it up, or?
A greenhouse is more like a glass house. A glass
Okay.
house you can grow in year round. My hoop house I can probably grow 10 months around. Certain things I can grow year round, but not very many. So, when you start getting to November, you're not going to grow much out there.
Okay.
But we do have a hydroponic operation.
So you say you're the project manager. I was very impressed when you took me around the other day. Your knowledge, what you're growing and stuff like that. I could tell that you enjoyed what you did, and you explained it to me very well. I felt like, not that I could do it, but I knew enough to where I could tell somebody what you were doing if they asked me. So I did. I think I learned a lot. Like I told you, I was real interested in what was going on over there.
Well, that's my passion, so it keeps me motivated.
So, how long have you been involved with the group? I don't know if we touched that.
I started with Recovery Park in 2016, and that's when we put those 8 high tunnels up in the dead of winter time. And so we got them up the early part of 2016 and actually got soil and everything in them by spring. And we seeded 2016 and had a full farm of crops out there. And so we had a contract with Delvane Produce, and they bought 100% of what we grew. Since the pandemic, things have changed. Now we have to come up with more creative ways to make cash flow over on the farm. And we're not going to go the old route and just sell to one particular place because we want our produce to get out there. So we'll do a couple different Eastern Market, probably Palmer Park and Oak Park. We'll probably do their farmers markets out there this year. We'll also be selling vegetables and stuff over on the farm when we have our farm to table dinners over there. We'll have one high tunnel dedicated to selling produce over there.
Now, I'm from Harper Woods, and we were talking about at our neighborhood organization meetings, we were talking about doing farmers markets. So we may be coming to you guys for some vegetables to hook us up, because we're a small community, and we try to do stuff to join us together out there. We've had events. This would be something new for us, but we've had events that were new. We had some flea markets and some stuff like that. So we're just trying to look for different things. So
well, we also consult over here, and so, for instance, last year I consulted with St. Nicholas Greek Orthodox Church, and we actually installed a farm at their church for them, and it's a little over a quarter of an acre. But it's really a nice design that I created, and it's a nice little farm, and they should have. This was late summer last year, so this year they should have just a full farm full of vegetables this year.
I mean, I could tell that you enjoy what you do because after you got done, he's like, "Well, I'm about to go eat my lunch and then I'm about to go play in the dirt." And I thought that was funny because you really meant you was about
Playing
to
in the
go.
dirt. Absolutely. But the soil is our friend, and my hands are always dirty because I love to keep my hands in the dirt. I love to plant vegetables out on the farm and hydroponically as well. Now, hydroponics is a different beast in itself because
Okay,
you
we
see
ain't got to that yet.
Okay.
I got a process. So, and then this is the thing too that really interests me. You said you pretty much self-taught yourself on how to do all of that stuff.
Well, I'm self-taught. That my grandfather was a farmer. He's from the South, and he had a big lot next door. And so when we were kids, he started teaching us how to grow vegetables and different stuff when I was a kid. I came over here in 2016, and the bulk of what I know, I learned right here at Recovery Park. So I was the first labor employee that Recovery Park hired back in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So I can honestly say that this program works because I'm still here. I started as a laborer, and now I'm project manager. So I went from laborer to supervisor to project manager.
You said 2016 is when you.
2016.
Okay, that's not that almost.
So if you take an interest in this, and the knowledge will come to you, and it just gets under your skin, and you start loving it because once you get out there with those plants, it's like relief. You're one with the plants, you're one with the dirt. It may be hard to understand, but once you get out there and start playing in the dirt, you understand. It's tranquility. You're in your thoughts. It's just nice. I love it. So.
I don't like the dirt like that.
Well.
So.
But life comes from that dirt.
Yeah, I mean, now don't get me wrong, because I don't eat meat, so vegetables are what I prefer to eat.
Mm-hmm.
But so I enjoyed that part, and I can tell the difference when something came from the ground, fresh, like you say, farm to table. I really appreciate that. So I understand that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
You grow it, I'll eat it. But I don't want to be out there. I don't like the bugs or anything like that. You don't seem to. Well,
you wouldn't like it across the street then because we have bees over there. You need bees to pollinate your vegetables. And so we're probably going to have like 50 to 100 hives out there this year. We have 3 right now, but we're working with Detroit Hives right now, and they're going to get us between 50 and 100 hives this year.
You're going to do honey, or you just want
pollination? We're going to do honey, pollination, all of that. Bees are good, so we want a lot of bees over here.
Bees are good in their place.
Well, these are honeybees. These are not bumblebees or anything like that. Bumblebees can be a bit aggressive sometimes. Okay, honeybees won't mess with you as long as you don't mess with them. Okay. They just go around and do their job, and that's it.
So you said you've got acreage. Where's the farm located?
The farm is right across the street from the office building, which is 5470 Shane. And if you're at the office building, you can look across the street and you'll see those 8 hoop houses over there. So in this area, in this community, we have and I don't know what the exact number is, but we have 340 lots. I think it's 9 houses, 4 are on the list for demolition. The other 5, I think we're going to remodel. One's going to be a community house. When people work over here, they can stay at the house. We have a licensed social worker on our staff, Rudy, who is project manager as well.
Okay. So when people get out and they don't really have a place to go, that's what you want to use those
houses for.
That's what we want to
use those houses
so they'll
for.
have some place to go. How is it working with people who are reintroducing themselves to society is really what it is. Some people don't do what they're supposed to do, and how do you guys deal with that part of it?
Well, it's all about the application process. When they turn an application in, you really have to screen people because everybody's not the same, and you can pretty much tell who will be a good fit and a good worker and who's not. Now, we want the ones that are the good fit because we feel like we can teach them easily and they're open to what we're teaching them. We have wraparound services, so we try to help them as much as we can with housing, cars, and whatever they need. We try to just improve people's lives when we get them over here.
Okay, because somebody said we had somebody on the show before, and they're doing something different, but helping people get themselves together, fresh out of the system and whatnot. And he was saying that you can't want it more for them than they want it for themselves.
Exactly, that's absolutely true.
So, and it kind of makes me wonder, how
but
do you
You can tell the people that
Right.
want it. It's evident when you bring them in for an interview. You can just tell by their body language and the answers to their questions how serious they are about this type of work.
Right. But some people you can't take what they're doing out of them. It's just in them,
Hmm.
and I wonder how long do you deal with somebody that's not willing. First off, their attitude has to change, and then once because people don't trust, and then once they see, oh well, you're trying to help me, but then if they're not seeing it, how long do you deal with a person?
Well, that's hard to say. It depends on the individual. Uh, Most people, if you give them a little bit of time and they get comfortable and they see exactly what they need to do when they get to work, and we have a pretty relaxed atmosphere here.
Mm-hmm.
Our CEO is great with the employees and staff. So once they get here and get comfortable, they start to love it. So I think it's a great place to work personally.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Okay. So when they come out, I know I read like you give them a job. Gary said something like it may not be the best of pay. What is the starting pay for somebody? I think it was like 14 or 12 or
Well,
14
we
dollars.
have we have different areas at Recovery Park. So we have the farm, we have maintenance because we have so many lots around. I think it's, I don't know, 340, 360, something like that. So we have a lot of grass to cut. So we have several riding lawnmowers, and so we have a lawn more crew, and they go out and cut grass all week. We have the farm, and that's 5 days a week, 6 days a week, all day. And then we just purchased a catering company and a restaurant out in Plymouth, Michigan. So we have employees out there as well. A story hit the paper last week. Two stories hit the paper last week. Macomb Daily, and I think one's about to come out in Cranes. But we also purchased a franchise of Oro Zabi Scratch Mexican restaurants. So we're going to be bringing that to Oakland County and Macomb County, first one being built this year.
Okay.
So we try to create as many jobs as we can to hire people with barriers.
Okay. So explain your growing process.
So are we talking soil based or are we talking hydroponics?
First, we're talking soil based.
Okay, soil based. Right now it's uh, March, and so I'm starting to seed down in the basement. So I'm seeding for across the street because I'll be transplanting what I have downstairs in grow trays over to the farm, and I'll transplant them after the last frost, probably about 6 weeks from now. So I have a bunch of plants down in the basement up under lights right now. Hydroponically, hydroponics is in water, so the growing media is different. We don't It's soilless, but growing hydroponically is a controlled grow area. So we control the heat, we control the light. Now, the light, we use LED lights because we're tricking the plant to think it's up under sun.
Okay.
So that's true. And so we feed the plants directly into our tanks, the nutrients that go into the plants. Now, I showed you last week, I'm trialing garlic down there because you see garlic out in the cold in September, and you don't harvest it until like June. So
Okay.
that's like 9 month turnaround before you can harvest garlic. I've studied and researched, and it can be grown hydroponically. Now, so I'm testing garlic in the basement, as you saw.
How is your garlic doing?
It's doing great right now. It's only been in a couple months, but my thoughts are that you can grow garlic in 4 months rather than 9 months hydroponically.
So you're speeding up the growing process. Is that a good thing for food wise? Yeah, but is it messing with the product in any way, shape, or form?
No,
Like,
not at
okay,
all. So the garlic, for instance, is in a raft system. So it has that board on the top, and the pot sit right down on the board. Well, up under there, that tank is full of water. And so the pot sits down in the water, and I pulled one out and showed you the roots and how long they were.
right.
So all the nutrients in the water are going right into those roots. And research will tell you that the healthiest plant you can get is a plant that's grown hydroponically because those nutrients are going right into the roots.
Okay,
Hmm.
okay. You're growing garlic.
I'm growing lettuce down there up under the lights, and that's romaine lettuce. And there's a shortage on romaine lettuce now, and every time you go into a restaurant, everybody's marking their lettuce up $1 because there's no lettuce.
Oh, the lettuce
And
was
it's
beautiful.
expensive right
I
now.
was like, I could make me a salad real quick because it looked healthy. It looked delicious. I was really blown away by what you were doing down there. I don't know if I was like, oh wow. So and then I kept saying, you did this, you.
Yeah, I think we grow some of the best and prettiest lettuce around. I haven't seen anybody's lettuce prettier than ours. And we grow great, and you saw them: collard greens, mustard greens, turnip greens, spinach, kale. So you had a chance to see that.
Right, and I'm going to get me some of those collard greens, y'all.
And you're welcome to them.
That's so. What do you want to grow over there? I know you mentioned you were doing some lavender. You wanted to do some watermelons, and you also said that a lot of this you were experimenting with. So,
Well, I'm experimenting with the garlic.
mhm.
I'm experimenting with the watermelon. They didn't do well last year. And I put a few in last year just to trial them and see what, because I had never grown watermelons, but I don't think they're difficult to grow. But I'm gonna get them in on time this year. I'm gonna feed the nutrients to them on time this year,
'Cause I was
and
in
hopefully we'll be able to serve some of those watermelons at the farm to table dinners this year.
I was at the fruit market yesterday, and a watermelon. It wasn't no bigger than this. Was $11.99. I'm like, that is ridiculous.
Yes.
And then you pay the $12, and then you get it home, and it's not even good. Because I
It's
like
not
a
even
watermelon in my salad. That's a good salad. So they call them summer salads, but that's how I eat my salad as opposed to a tomato. I like watermelon and
Mhm.
some type of fresh fruit, a strawberry, a watermelon, or something like that. So you say you're gonna get them in this year, and are you doing seedless or with seeds?
Oh, with seeds. We're gonna do them with seeds. Personally, on a personal note, I just don't like seedless watermelon.
Yeah, I heard that they're not. I'm not gonna say they're not real, but they're not as good for you. They're doing something to make them seedless, is what I heard.
Well, I don't know about that. From my growing experience, there's a way to grow a seedless watermelon. And I don't know what that is because I haven't done the research. But I know some plants, if there's a male and a female plant in the same room, then you'll get seeds. If you take that male plant out, then that.
Oh. Okay, so I didn't know watermelons were
Well, it's just like a marijuana plant.
Okay.
Now marijuana is legal and people are growing marijuana like crazy now. So if you start growing marijuana and you get a male in the room, if you don't take that male out, then your whole crop is gonna be full of seeds. So you have to get that male out.
Now we kind of touch base. They don't grow marijuana here, but
No, we don't grow. We're recovery park, so
right,
we don't grow it here. Right.
with Clint's knowledge, I thought the other day to myself, I was like, he probably could grow some really good marijuana. So,
I could, but we're recovery park, so we don't want to do that. So we have people coming out of substance abuse. And
right,
stuff coming
I
over,
understand
so
that, but
it
I
just wouldn't work.
actually thought about that. Your knowledge probably could. I mean, I was impressed, and I'm saying this to you because I was really fascinated when you took me on the tour. I guess I thought you were doing extraordinary work over there. It was different. You're like, well, I'm experimenting with this, and I'm gonna try this, and you were excited. If you'd have heard, well, you can tell now, but he was really excited about the things that he was saying. So back to like, what are some of the things that you would like to grow? We got the watermelons.
Well, a lot of the things I'm gonna grow this year are because we're having the farm to table dinners. Like I'll do 2 big wash tubs over there, or I am gonna do 2 big wash tubs over there, fill them up with dirt, but I'm just gonna put strawberries in there,
Okay.
right? And I'll let the strawberries go. When people come to the farm for farm to tables and they're touring around the farm, they can stick their hands in there and get some more strawberries and eat them. You know, it's the red color. You know, I'm bringing a lot of color over there to beautify the farm over there, so it looks nice when we have the farm to table dinners. And speaking about the farm to table dinners, we're also going to have jazz on those days when we have the farm to table dinners, and we're going to bring a different chef every week for those farm to table dinners. So I think it's going to be a great event.
Okay. We'll get to that. We'll give more information momentarily. So now we talked a little bit about the hydroponics. Is there a limit to what you can grow hydroponically? Is that a word? Hydroponically?
Yes, that is a word. Probably not. But if I was going to try to grow something hydroponically, I would research it first and see how it grows, and what it's capable of, So that would tell me just looking at how it grows and you know
This is
whether or
not
not I want to try to grow
hydroponics. Is that fairly new in the growing process?
Not really. It's been around for a while now. The technology of grow lights and stuff has changed. People used to use high pressure sodium and those big lights, and they would put a big drain on your light bill.
Yeah.
So the LED lights don't do that. They don't draw off of your light bill like that. So it's much cheaper to grow with LED lights.
Now I thought a grow light had like a special light to it or
They
something.
do. They have reds and whites, and they call them far reds and blues and whites.
With the LEDs.
With the LEDs, yeah.
Can accomplish the same thing.
That's what the LEDs do.
Okay.
If you look at my lights down in the basement, you'll see red lights, white lights, blue lights. The whole spectrum is there, which the plants need.
So it's not a limit to what you can grow hydroponically. So when you try new stuff, do you automatically determine what's best in soil or best in water? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the soil and the water. This is just different grow medias.
But you can pretty much grow anything either way.
Right. So hydroponically, the grow medias I use are water, of course. I use cocoa balls. I use cocoa noir.
What's cocoa balls?
If you remember on the table, there were little brown balls in those in the pots with the garlic. Those are the cocoa balls.
What is that? Is that to provide flavor or nutrients?
No, it's a substrate. It's it's a growing media. And rather than using dirt, you use those.
Oh, okay.
There's also what they call Rockwell blocks. We use those, and I have some in the basement soaking now because I'm getting ready to see some squash in them because I'm going to grow some big squash over there for those farm to table dinners over there. Butternut squash and zucchini. So I'll be growing both of those. But the Rockwell blocks are like, it's a block. They're big, they're small, but you soak them in water and they hold water with it. They're like a sponge almost. And so you don't have to use any dirt or anything in there. You just put the seed in there. Some things you might have to put a mixture of perlite and vermiculite in those blocks, but other than that, you don't need any dirt. It's dirtless, soilless.
Okay. Well, and like I said, I was just fascinated. And then, like I said, you're doing all of this. You're learning trial and error and that type of thing. Do you have some things that just didn't work out that you tried? It's like
hydroponically?
Anyway.
In the soil, the only thing I've tried that didn't work out the way I wanted it to work out was the watermelons last year. So I put them in, and I figured I didn't have to do a whole lot to them, but after doing research, after so many weeks, I missed my mark, and I should have been hitting them with a lot of nutrients and a lot of water.
They just
and then you get to a certain point, you shut the water off, and that helps with the sweetness, the flavor, and all of that. I know more about them now, and I was just so busy last year, I didn't have time to put into the research that I needed to put into it.
So they just didn't grow, or they
grew like crazy. They didn't seed. And I didn't have bees at the time, so I don't think they pollinated well,
So they didn't taste good, or
they didn't come out. They were just like a big green. Mm-hmm. But that won't happen this year because I'm on top of it.
You're watching the Dr. John Telford Detroit Show, live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and other top social media platforms. Like us, follow us, share us, and comment and subscribe. Thank you for watching WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. And John is not here with us. He had car trouble again. I am interviewing Clinton Borders, project manager for Recovery Farms Park, and I think it's very interesting. The Urban Farm Initiative in the city of Detroit is booming. There are a couple others. I think they've got like some apple orchards or something on the west side, I believe. I cannot remember the name of this farm, but in school I did a report on them. And there's another one that applied for a hatch loan a while ago. They didn't win, but this is something that's coming up, and I think with the city and so much land that's available, that this may be a way to help the food industry, because we don't want stuff that's chemically processed or in a factory. We want something that's fresh out the ground or fresh hydroponically So
So you're correct in the urban farming stuff that we're on Shane Street, and if you go back east down Ferry, because we're right at the corner of Ferry and Shane, if you go down Ferry east, you'll see a bunch of urban farms back there.
and these are just people that are growing there,
Yep.
which has
And
been
some have hoop houses and some don't. Some grow out in open field, but a lot have hoop houses, and they probably come from USDA because you can apply for a hoop house if you have the land that you're going to grow on. As long as you have something in the dirt, you can go to the USDA,
the government.
right, and ask them for a hoop house, and they'll probably give you one.
Oh,
You'll
okay.
probably get one. So I also applied for a hoop house for the project that I did out in Troy at St. Nicholas Greek Orthodox Church. So they should be getting their hoop house this year, probably around March or May.
Hmm. I mean, I'm sure the government. People don't know that the government gives people money and
For
resources
agriculture,
for
yeah,
right for a whole lot of
absolutely.
things. You just have to research it and know where to go. It's out there. You
It's
just
out
have to
there.
ask for it. And if you've got the land, that's why people buy those lots next to their houses when the house is torn down, and they farm on them. And we may all be having to farm pretty soon because prices, food prices are astronomical.
And steady going up. Yep.
Yeah, so where does the food go after you've grown it? Like, who do you sell it to?
Well, this year we used to sell to Del Bain, and they bought 100% of everything we bought. But since I've taken the farm over, I decided to go in a different direction. I decided that we need to be more creative with the farm because it's you ride through this area and you see that, and a lot of people just stop and come on the farm because they want to know what it is. So I decided that maybe we should do farmers markets, maybe 2 or 3 farmer markets, maybe a couple times a week. And I figured that I would work on the farm, beautify it, and have farm to table dinners over there this year with jazz and chefs. We just want to start getting people to come back to this community over here. I mean, there's not a lot over here. We have the hoops houses across the street. We have an old warehouse, probably 2 blocks from here, that we're gonna turn into a community center. So we have Helena's Catering, which is out in Plymouth that we own, and our plan is to bring that and put that right here in our footprint in
What
that warehouse.
what kind of catering do they do? Weddings and parties or?
They do weddings, they do parties, they do a lot of stuff for UAW lunches and different stuff like that. We just changed our menu this week, and I just got an email today with the 3 new menus. So we do the catering, we do the restaurant. So
The restaurant and the catering company are one and the same, or a part of each
a
other.
part of each other.
Okay, that's what I was trying to say.
So the
So,
restaurant operates every day, and people come in and buy lunch and different stuff. The catering company, we cook that food, we take it to parties and different stuff like that, and we serve it. So.
are you running all of this? Or?
No, 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 no. We have Gary Wozniak, who's our CEO. We have Rudy, who's the project manager, and we also have Steve, who is in charge of the restaurant. So he's never at the building too much. He's here sometime, but he's usually at the restaurant.
Okay. So, and you say the restaurant's in Plymouth.
Plymouth,
What
Michigan.
the? You want to give the address or no?
I don't have it on me right now. You caught me with that one, but I can definitely get it. So.
Okay. So it's in Plymouth. What's the name of it again?
It's called Joe's Deli.
Joe's Deli.
Joe's Catering and Deli.
Oh, okay. So you send food from the farm is served over there, or
No, 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 no. So the farm is just getting back up in operation, and food will start growing over there. Produce will start growing over there. We'll put the plants out about another 6 weeks. So another 6 weeks by end of May, June, I'll start getting crops out of there.
okay. So you say you can do 10 months out of the year. So with your hydroponics, would it be possible to have a year-round growing, or does the stuff have to come out of hydroponics and then go into the ground? I'm not really.
Well, the thing about the hydroponics and the lights is it would be great if I could put lights in the hoop houses.
Mhm.
But they're plastic structures and they're clear. although there's a fence around the farm and the farm is alarmed, that still would cause issues because those lights are so expensive. And once they're on inside the hoop house, you can see these different colors inside these hoop houses, and people would know that you got grow lights in there. So now you create a problem with security. So that's why we wouldn't put them in a hoop house. I mean, in one of those hoop houses, because people would come get the lights. So we have to do it in the basement, and we have a pretty large basement. So my plan is to grow a lot of romaine lettuce down there this year in a system that's called the NFT, and it's specifically for growing lettuce. And it has 360 ports on it. Ports meaning where you put your seed and the plant comes out.
Okay.
So I can grow a lot of lettuce like that, and I would stagger it so that I would get so many cases out a day. So you would seed every day, and you'd be able to get harvest out every day.
How long does it take for your lettuce to
Well,
grow?
we've grown lettuce down in the basement, and we built a pond down there, and we had a 14-day turnaround. So
Really?
every day we would seed, and the seed trays would go in the back, and they would get pushed up to the front. So the ones that come up to the front come out and harvest it, and then you seed and put more in the back, and just keep it going. You know, so you're getting stuff out every day, and you're seeding every day.
Does that produce a lot? I mean,
It produces a lot.
okay. I'm just trying to imagine. So you've got a space, say, like the size of this table. How much would, if you were to see this table, like, how much would that get you? Uh, start
Well, that depends on what we're seeding. I have a table like this
with
now
lettuce.
down in
Yeah.
the basement up under lights, but it's just seed trays. And I put my seeds in there, I got my soil in there, and I think my plants might be a half an inch now. And I've seeded them last Thursday. So they're about a week old. So they're germinated and they're starting to come up. So they'll sit down there for another 5, 6 weeks. And then they'll be a nice size, and I'll let them harden a little bit because you don't want to take them out in the cold before they get hard. So you want to cut the water off and all of that a couple of days before you take them to transplant them, and that hardens them. And then you just take them out, you take the plug out, and you have a little root ball about yay big, and you put a little hole in dirt, and you stick it down in there and cover it up. It's transplanted.
So I didn't ask you when we were talking about the restaurant. What kind of foods do they serve? Is it
Right now they're doing Polish food for
okay?
the catering company because um, the catering company was called Helena's Catering, and that's what they did, Polish. We've since started. We hired a chef, and she has started changing the recipes a little bit, and she's great. That stuff tastes great. So she's pretty good at what she does. So she's changed a lot of stuff. She's changed the menus and all of that. So I don't get to go out there much, but when I do, her food is great. So right now we're doing a fish fry. The last time I was out there was last Friday. We do a fish fry every Friday right now during Lent.
Okay.
So we're doing what is it, catfish tacos, which are excellent. Those things are pretty good. Perch and another fish. I forget what it is. And like I say, I'm not out there that much, so I don't know. I just run out there when I want to eat.
So you just
Well, I'm pretty busy over here, so I don't get to go out there. I'm in the process now of looking at some resumes because I need to hire 2 people probably pretty quickly here, because the grow season is coming up on me real fast, and I'm just pulled in so many different directions, but I got to stop and get me at least 2 people over on the farm real quick.
okay. Okay. Well, hey, I know you said you were looking at resumes earlier, so hopefully that'll you'll get you some people and that'll.
Well, now hopefully I can find a couple people with some grow experience. That would help me tremendously. Although I would take somebody without any grow experience because I love teaching people like I was taught. So we'll see how it works out. But I need somebody that I wouldn't have to always be there. I know they know what they're doing, and I don't have to be there watching everything they're doing. So
Okay, so you kept mentioning the farm to table dinners with the jazz. And what other events? Explain that one and what you want to do, and then explain like what other events you might have coming up.
okay, so the farm to table dinners, we're gonna have one every Saturday, and it's gonna start the third Saturday in May. And each week we'll have a different chef and a different jazz band out there playing. We already have like a month worth already booked, and I'm still booking different chefs and bands to play over there. I can't wait. I think it's going to be a great event. I think people are going to love it. I think they're going to love the food. I think they're going to love the music. I think they're going to enjoy the farm. We've I think I've created a nice, relaxing atmosphere over there.
It was.
And so when people come, I just think they're going to really enjoy the farm and what we're doing here in Detroit to better this community around us.
So he's gonna cook the food. The chef, it could be a woman. I'm sorry. They're gonna cook the food over there
Mm-hmm.
and serve it. So you're gonna have to put a whole lot of stuff out there.
And so it'll be for 100 people. So we have a couple of tents, and we're going to set the tents up, and we have tables that'll be right inside the tent so that the sun's not beaming down on people and all of that. So it's going to really, really be nice. And after the farm to table stuff, which is every Saturday, we're also having a huge festival the third Saturday in August.
Okay, what's the festival about?
We're calling it the Black Bottom Heritage Festival.
Oh, okay.
And so, because a lot of people call this Black Bottom, I think years and years ago it was really Pole Town, but I think Black Bottom was allowed a little further, but people still refer to this as Black Bottom. So we call it the Black Bottom Heritage Festival, and we'll be working with the FX Church down the street, which is Andre Butler's church that just moved in the neighborhood maybe a little over a year ago. And Tommy, who owns the Raven Lounge, the oldest blues club in Michigan, he's going to be working with us. And I was talking to Tommy yesterday, and I told him I wanted him to do at least one blues night on the farm to table stuff. So
Okay, so one night will be
Well,
blues as opposed to jazz.
me and Tommy are good, and I try to help Tommy out as much as I can. He tries to help me out as much as he can. So it's community. So there's no reason I can't stick a spot in there for him. There's no reason I can't have a gospel night for farm to table for the church down there.
Right.
So,
Right, because this is your community.
right. And I want to be as creative as possible for everybody involved, the church, the blues people, the jazz people, whoever. Because there's a big jazz event over here that's been going on for years. It's called John's House of Carpet Blues that sits right behind my farm.
Okay.
Well, they do their thing on Sundays, which is a little bit of a problem for us because there's thousands of people out there, but John doesn't have a lot of people that works with him. So on Monday mornings when we come to work, we have to shut down our operation because we have to clean up all the trash that they left behind.
There's no organization.
There's
for
no
that
organization,
event.
and
It's horrible.
we would get the blight ticket, so we have to clean it up. So
I mean, there's no. I got caught in that traffic, and it took me 2 hours to get out of there. And if something was to happen, if somebody was to get sick, nobody could get in, nobody could get out. It was utterly ridiculous. So it would be a better event if he took it and just maybe only allowed parking on one side of the street or something.
Well, because we're shut down on Mondays because of his operation, I really don't feel they should give him a permit to operate this year. He never has his porta potties. I mean, nothing. I mean, it's just a problem for us because we have to clean up behind it. Now, if he cleaned up behind himself and took care of his business, that would be one thing. But he needs to shut it down or clean up. You know, one of the two.
It's horrible, and I'm not the only one. Especially as a woman, you're stuck down there. You don't have a bathroom to go to. There's nothing, and you can't get out. So
and you're stuck. Yeah.
You just stuck in there. And I like several of my friends like, oh, I'll never go back down there, and I don't blame them because it's absolutely horrible.
So now I'm trying to work with the city council because, you know, WJZZ does a backyard boogie on Sundays, and I want them to continue that. So I want to find a space for them over there that they can do their event on Sunday without, you know, having to deal with that over there that they do. So
and especially
I'll figure it out.
Right, especially if he's not going to cooperate with you.
Right. Well, I mean, we should be able to partner up with him or whatever, but you know, if he doesn't want to have that conversation, then I got to take an alternative.
And he collects money. He goes around and people give donations, and if everybody, because it's thousands of people down there, so if everybody gave him $1 every Sunday, he's making about $2,000-$3,000, and he's not putting it back into his space.
Right.
So
exactly right.
But like I said, it was horrible, and I will never go back down there again. And I was down there, and I was with people, and they all like packed my car back up, and then they left, but I didn't get home for 2 hours later. So you're watching the John Telford Detroit Show, live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and other top social media platforms. Like, follow, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. So your events, they're going to be community oriented, open to the public. Um, how can people find out about the things that'll be going on? And how can they find out about the farm? Or you say you're looking for people to hire, you know, is it somebody people can reach out to you because you say you're looking for somebody with experience? So if can they reach out to you about a job or what?
Well,
What?
for the farm, I guess I'm the person to get in touch with, but you know, we shut down because of the pandemic, and we did have a website, and it got shut down. But we've been interviewing some social media people within the last couple of weeks, and we plan to bring one in soon, so we can get this stuff out. We need to advertise the farm to table stuff and get as much publicity out about it as much. It's only going to be 100 seats, and you're going to
Well,
have
that's for the
farm to table stuff.
right, but we're talking about the festival and all that. So you're going to get somebody to put your website
Yep.
back up and
Yep,
your
yep, yep.
Facebook, at least your Facebook, or your social media.
Yeah, we need a social media presence, so we're working on that now, and we want to get as much information out as we can. So.
Okay. But your website is not up, so nobody can reach out to you that way. But if somebody was interested in working with you or bringing their knowledge over here, is it a way they can reach out to you or
Well, they can call me, Clinton Borders, at 313-879-9547. Let me repeat that again.
Say it again.
313-879-9547. Especially if you have growing experience, please give me a call.
So yeah, and then you say you're just hiring for the farm right now, but you also say you have cuts. You need people to cut grass and stuff like that.
This is
so.
true. Yeah, if you have experience driving those riding lawnmowers, you know, you can give us a call. We also in the food space. So I mean, right now the restaurant's out in Plymouth, but if you have transportation, they're hiring out there right now.
No,
They
okay.
have been
For
hiring
wait
out there.
staff and stuff like that.
They've been hiring out there for the last couple of weeks or so.
How big of a restaurant is it?
CEO is on the phone, but I'll call him back. I can tell you the square footage of the restaurant, but it's a nice big kitchen and nice seating area in the front. It's made in the style of a deli, you know, that's what it was before, and they just sold a lot of subs and different stuff like that. My CEO is trying to call me.
Can you text him and tell him give you a few minutes, just a few minutes?
I don't think he's gonna stop.
Go ahead.
Yes, Gary.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Okay, let me call you back
His
in a couple
boss is
minutes. I
calling.
am on camera right now. I'm upstairs doing a show. I'll be down in a few minutes.
Hey.
All right.
Work calls, y'all. So
Work-
he had,
work- that
he
was a
had
work
to,
call.
he had to ask.
The
I
boss.
would be. I didn't meet Gary, but like I said, I feel like I've looked at all the interviews that I could find, and they were of him, saying his story, and that's fine because this is his organization. But I was more interested in the growing process, the food, and how you're getting it out there, and how you're doing it. And again, I say I was very impressed with your knowledge and how you're doing things down there. It's all on you, and you seem like you enjoy what you're doing, and
I do.
and how you're doing it, and it shows when you talk about it. Because I think we walked around for about 2 hours, about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Good little while.
Yeah, and
There's a lot to see though, so yeah.
I was never not. You were telling me something. It's not like you were repeating yourself. It was just steady information, and I felt like like I said, like I could tell somebody what you told me. I picked up the knowledge that you told me. Okay. So we're going to wrap it up here. If it's anything you want to know or to reach out to him, please give him a call. Again, can you give them?
And please be on the lookout for our farm to table dinners this summer, and our festival in August, the Black Bottom Heritage Fair Festival. We're located here at 5470 Shane Street, Detroit, Michigan, 48211.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Again, John will be back next week. And hold on, I'm trying to find his outgoing music, and for some reason I can't find it. Stuff always does what it wants to do when you want to do it. Thank you for joining us today, Clint. I really appreciate it. It was very interesting talking to you. And Clint owes me collard greens, y'all, so I'm going to go.
I'm going to cut them right now. They're fresh. They can't be any fresher. I'm going to cut them and hand them right to her.
All right, then. Let me get this music. Oh, it will not act right. It will not act right. Okay, come on. Come on. We went off without a hitch, and now it wants to act crazy. It says that it is blocking it. I do not know